What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be breaking down Topuria versus Gaethje round by round, a bit more in depth, and how Topuria lost in kind of the worst way, guys. So let's preface this fight real quick. Topuria said, and I quote, "I'm gonna break your jaw. I'm gonna take your head off in the first round. There's never gonna be a second, third round. There's never gonna be a fourth round. I'm never gonna be shooting for a takedown, guys." Oh, another thing. He said, "You're never gonna take me down. You can try if you can." Everything Topuria said that everything that he said that wasn't gonna happen literally happened, guys. Literally everything. And every second that went by to where it did happen, it just chewed away at Topuria's confidence, his headspace, and his whole system of his body, guys. The brain connection to your whole body is so real, okay? So every second that happened, his whole body just kind of slowly shuts down because his brain is like, oh shit, it's actually happening. Okay, I just wanted to preface that real quick. Another thing on Gaethje said I wanted to preface was everyone saying, oh, the tendency of his tipping to the right and all of that. It's going to be so easy. Guys, it really isn't. Gaethje did well mixing it up by doing this circular pattern of being so unorthodox. And earlier in the fight camp, I don't know if it was like an embedded clip or something like that, Topuria did mention that. And I think he kind of gave us a sign like it did concern him because it's so unorthodox. He can throw a left hook, an uppercut, right hand out of nowhere, doing those weird slips. And it's really, really dangerous. And it worked against Topuria. Okay. And so many people were just down in Gaethje because of those tendencies, but really it worked perfectly against Topuria because styles make fights, guys. And MMA math will never make sense, but yet again, it's crazy. Like the tendency would be bad if it was someone who could throw like a left high kick. Topuria doesn't do that, okay? He doesn't do that. Or someone who has a spinning kick like Max, who implemented that and broke Gaethje's nose. And how come we see Topuria? Like, I don't know if you guys seen his like training footages. He's throwing that spinning back kick. He didn't even use that at all, guys. We know he can do it, but he didn't do it. Where was the corner coaching advice to say, yo, throw that in when he's dipping? It would work amazingly. I think the coaching game planning was not there, guys. But let's get into it. So round one starts off. Topuria is just slowly walking him down, but his footwork is not like we usually see him. Okay? He's a bit more sluggish. It's not as fainting or slipping like he usually does. He usually faints a lot against like Volk, against Charles, against Max. He faints a lot. He didn't faint at all, guys. And it just made his punches so much more telegraphed. So round one happens. Ilya just gets more frustrated and frustrated and frustrated as he can't land a flush shot on Gaethje. Gaethje's jabbing him up and finally cuts him very bad on the eye, takes out his vision basically, and I think it's his right eye or left eye. Round one ends. Ilya has already used up, I must say he used up already 50% of his gas tank because they were throwing like exchanges, but there's a difference, guys, at the end of the round. Listen to this. Gaethje's doing these rolling, dipping stuff, throwing and picking his shots. On the other hand, Ilya is just going all out, throwing punches, not combos, guys. Just throwing punches, just throwing heat. And there's a huge difference. One, he's not picking his shots and like mixing up combinations like he did against Emmett, like he did against Max. He's just letting his hands go, doing some simple, telegraphed, easy to weave punches. And he's throwing with all his might to knock out Gaethje because he said he would, but that is why he lost so much of his gas tank. I did think the environment did have a bit of a factor. I'll go into that a bit later. So second round happens. Topuria's mentality is already defeated here, guys. He said this is never going to happen. It did already. Boom. Gaethje's already in his head. Second round starts. Gaethje, again, is jabbing him up. Doing well, landing some right hands. And then Topuria lands a good sequence and almost starts doing this clinch. Kind of starts doing this dirty boxing, clinching stuff that Gaethje usually does. Like when he did against Patty, where he's clinching and just like throwing uppercuts. Topuria started doing that against Gaethje, and I think that was one of the smart things he did, only because he was going to the body, but he wasn't picking his shots again, guys. He just kept on throwing the same thing, ripping, and it works because he's got a ton of power, but he's using up so much of his gas tank, guys. And then the biggest mistake, his gas tank is very low. I think his corner went and told him to go for the ground to find the submission because Gaethje was hurt. But the problem is Topuria's gas tank was already over, guys. It was done. It was depleted. And I don't think the corner knew that. It was the right idea. Honestly, it was the right idea. But it was wrong because they didn't know the condition he was in. He was no condition to finish that fight in the ground. He was better off just landing some ground and pound or just letting Gaethje back up. All right, guys. And of course, stuff happened in the heat of the moment, but unfortunately, Topuria was also so tired. He wanted to lay down, guys. He wanted to lay down. So either way, round 2 closes out. Gaethje looks hurt bad. However, he's getting a huge recovery on the ground when he's laying down and then back onto the chair. You see him take deep breaths. His corner's like telling him how he's feeling and stuff. But he's recovering well. Okay, he's super tough. Topuria, on the other hand, is dying of getting his breaths in. And then round 3 happens. Gaethje lands bombs on Topuria to where his eyes are completely, basically shut, guys. The doctor literally did a test and he failed like twice. However, Topuria's toughness, he said, no, I'm going to keep fighting. Really respect the toughness, but he legitimately cannot see. There's a sequence where he nearly drops Topuria with this 1-2. Only because Topuria literally just could not see it, guys. He did not even see it. He had no reaction to the movement of Gaethje. He just stood there. Boom. Because he just couldn't see it. And people calling Topuria a quitter, they're retarded. Like, you guys are retarded as hell. First of all, he did not quit. If you guys rewatch that, he was the one that actually said, no, I want to keep fighting, but his corner was the one that called it because he most likely had a broken orbital on both sides, probably a broken nose, super bad swelling, and probably a broken rib, or ribs, plural, from that knee. Again, round 3 happens. I think Gaethje does this weird takedown on Topuria when he's hurt, and Topuria still manages to, I think, goes back and gets his takedown of himself somehow, even when he's super tired. And it kind of just showed how gassed Topuria was. He literally was having trouble moving his feet, guys. I'm surprised he still slipped. There was a sequence where he slipped and like ducked. A heavy sequence from Gaethje, despite being so gassed. So then round 4 comes up. Ilya goes for the takedown. And he does get it, but he can't really control him because he's just so tired, guys. Being the smaller guy, trying to control the bigger guy is already tough. Especially with Gaethje, who already has a wrestling background and has great scrambles, actually. Even though most people don't even believe that Gaethje can wrestle. And again, Gaethje just keeps throwing some bombs, jabbing him up. And eventually, it goes to the ground where he does his headlock again and throws that vicious knee like we were talking about. And that is what truly ended the fight, like 100% put a stop to it. Topuria was hurt really, really bad from that knee. And again, smart from Gaethje. Really, really smart to finally just close it out right there. So yeah, that's how Topuria loses. Now, Topuria totally could have won, guys. If you guys watch the fight against Josh Emmett, I want you guys to look at the footwork, the patience, the Philly shell, or just defensive movement of Ilya. Guys, Ilya didn't use any of that at all against Gaethje. He didn't use any of that. He didn't even work behind his jab like he usually does. He didn't use any feints like he usually does. He didn't throw as many calf kicks as he usually does. It felt like we weren't even watching Ilya Topuria, honestly. And he didn't have the cardio like he usually does. We've seen him go 5 rounds, guys. We've seen him take some punches from Emmett. Like, if you guys watched that fight, he did take some punches from Emmett. He was bruised up at the end of the fight, but he still went 5 rounds. He was fine. We've seen him against Max, taking up so much volume, throwing heat through 3 rounds. He was fine on cardio. The environment really did take a toll on Topuria's gas tank, guys. I'm telling you. Okay. On top of all the conditions he was going through, the vision, the mentality, his whole body, everything collapsing on itself. And let's go back to that Emmett fight. I want to say or reference this Emmett fight because Emmett, who is also a power puncher, brawler like Gaethje, obviously has nowhere skill levels near Gaethje's levels. The coaching is nowhere near Gaethje's coach, as in Trevor Whitman. But Ilya can still implement those skills to avoid the jab, slip it, counter it, and roll the punches. Because Gaethje throws a left hook and a right overhand lots of times. That's usually his signature combo in the uppercut. Topuria usually rolls a lot with punches, especially against a power puncher. He didn't do like any of that. Maybe like one time when he was already hurt and gassed. But it wasn't there at all, guys. I felt like I was watching like a Michael Chandler IQ against Gaethje, guys. I swear it literally looked like almost watching Michael Chandler versus Gaethje. And it's a great fight. All right, it'll always be a great fight to watch, but it's like Ilia's IQ game plan just wasn't there. Everything just kept collapsing on itself. Yeah, I think Alien really needs to take some time off and rewatch that fight. And I think he learned a huge lesson, hopefully, that you can still trash talk and all that, but you cannot truly let it get to your head once the fight comes. And don't set a trap for yourself, you know, because he really did set a trap for himself. Now, if you guys do have anything to share, go ahead and comment on your thoughts on the fight and what you think they could have done better or what Topuria could have done better. Um, I will be posting future matchups on what it should look like after this. So stay tuned. We'll be dropping soon and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.